Do you need a vacuum cleaner or a desk or perhaps a printer for your business? What rules apply to the cost deduction of such low-value assets? In today's episode, we explore this topic, so stay with us.
Welcome, dear listener. You are listening to the Business Lessons in Denmark podcast. My name is Rezső, and I'll be talking with Katalin Balog, who works as an accountant. Hi, Kati. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. Though I'm a little bit tired. This tax season was really hard, so I slept much less than I should have, and I worked much more than I should have. But we are finished with all the tax returns and everything is fine now. So, yes, I'm happy.
Good to hear it. Yes, I guess for an accountant, this time of the year is the busiest.
Yeah.
With a lot of tax returns to prepare.
Yeah, that's exactly how it is. But after the 1st of July, it will be easier. So I hope I can rest a little bit more.
That sounds good. Well, I've also worked a lot lately, but now I finally reached the point where I can buy the drone I've been dreaming of for a long time.
Wow, a drone. Why do you need a drone?
Because I also make videos and photos, and I get requests for creating promotional materials. For example, I got a request from a holiday resort, and with a drone, I can make shots, and I otherwise couldn't.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so you can capture the whole area from above. I understand. That's a
Yes,
good idea.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good idea. Yeah.
But before I buy this drone, I would like to know how its cost deduction works.
Okay. Things like this are considered tools, work tools. And yes, they can be deducted in your business, but their exact deduction depends on whether they are small or large assets.
Mm-hmm. So size matters?
No, it's not about size.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay, good to know. Are we still talking about work tools?
Yes, I am. I meant that for tools, it's not the size, but their value that counts.
Okay.
Tools are things necessary for work that we use over and over again for a longer period, unlike materials, which are either used immediately or are sold. For example, paint for a painter or oil for a car mechanic, they are materials. They can only be used once and are immediately written off and cost upon use.
Yes, I understand that. But my drone will be in a different category because I will use it over a longer period than just once.
Yes, exactly. That's why the drone qualifies as a tool. Almost every business has such tools. For me, as an accountant, it's the computer, printer, the desk, and so on. But for a construction company, it's the tools such as drills, grinders, and so on.
Okay, so in my case, for example, my camera is a tool, right?
Yeah.
And the drone as well, if I manage to buy it.
Yes, exactly. Your camera is a tool that doesn't wear out just after the first use, but can be used repeatedly, even for years.
Yes. Another example would be the company car, as I remember from those episodes when we talk about buying a car.
Yes, exactly.
But I also remember that for the company car, the full purchase price couldn't be deducted as a cost immediately, but the cost must be spread over several years. Since I use the car for several years, the cost is also spread over several years.
Yes. Well, a company car is usually a high-value asset, and indeed, it can only be deducted as a cost over several years. You have to keep an individual record about these assets, and the record must show the purchase value, how much has already been deducted as a cost, and the remaining value of the asset.
Now, that's a lot of administration again.
Yeah, that's for sure, but not necessarily, because here is the good news. While we use many tools in our work, not all of them are as expensive as a company car. Think about how many screwdrivers a construction company has, which may only be a few hundred crowns for each. Keeping individual records and spreading the cost of each over several years would be a huge administrative task. To ease the bookkeeping and cost deduction, and to avoid keeping separate records for every tool, a threshold value has been set by the tax office. Below this threshold, the cost deduction doesn't need to be spread over several years, but can be written off as a cost immediately upon purchase.
Wow. For the first time, I must admit that the tax office is pretty cool in Denmark. It would really be funny if a screwdriver or a bucket had to be deducted over several years.
Yeah, exactly. That's why there is this threshold. If the tool you buy is below this threshold, it's considered as a low value asset, and its cost can be written off immediately in one go.
I see. So now the only question is, what is the threshold?
The threshold changes every year. In 2023, it was 32,000 crowns, and in this year, in 2024, it's 33,100 crowns.
Well, that's not a small amount. So, if I understand correctly, if the drone is below 33,100 crowns, then it can be deducted as a cost immediately when I buy it.
Yes.
If it's more expensive, then I have to keep an individual record of it, and it can be only deducted as a cost over a longer period.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. And by the way, does this amount include the VAT?
No. This amount is the purchase price without the VAT.
Wow, that's great. So if the drone price is less than 33,100 crowns plus VAT, I can deduct its cost in one go.
Yes. Now, there is one more thing to mention, and this is whether the tools you buy belong together. This means that if you buy a tool under 33,100 crowns, but it can only be used with another tool, then the prices of both tools must be added together. If you buy an expensive camera for 25,000 crowns, excluding VAT, and a lens for 15,000 crowns, excluding VAT, at the same time, the logic is the following. The extra lens can't be used without the camera. It means that they are used together, so you have to use the lens together with the camera, and so you have to add up the prices of these two. So together they will be not these small assets, but it will be a high value asset, and it will require individual records and cost deduction over several years.
Well, Kathy, this is very good news again, because now it has become obvious for me that I can not only buy the drone, but I can also deduct it as a low value asset immediately, since its price is under the threshold.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that, Rezső. This way you can shoot beautiful videos and your tax base will also decrease.
Exactly, yes. Kathy, thank you very much for today's conversation. I'll be back next week with another problem. It seems that as a new business owner, I have many problems.
Don't worry. Let me assure you that the number of problems will not decrease later either.
Yeah, I'm not worried because you are here, so...
Okay.
Good to know. That's really reassuring. Anyway, see you next week.
See you next week.
Today's episode was sponsored by Cool Accounts APS. If you want to take your business to the next level, then contact us through our website www.accounts.cool, and for up-to-date and useful information, follow our Facebook page. We wish you a successful week.